My first day taking meds. Here we go. Didn't sleep very well last night. 6:21. Taking enough protein. I've never taken anything. Here it goes. Okay, it's been 20 minutes since my first dose of Vyvanse, and we'll see how it goes. I have no idea if anything's kicking in yet. I don't know if this is psychosomatic. I definitely feel like a dial. It feels like a dial in my brain, because usually I have a lot of racing thoughts first thing in the morning about everything I need to get done today, and immediately I overwhelm myself. But I also don't know if that's just psychosomatic, because I know that I'm now taking something that could help. I don't know. Vyvanse has officially kicked in. Feels like I am out in nature and there was a bunch of white noise, and the white noise got turned down and I can hear the birds, I can hear the stream, I can hear crickets, and it's not overwhelming, and it's not like it's muted in any capacity. I still very much feel like me. It's just that things are singularly wonderful. I'm gonna be totally honest, and I was really afraid of getting on any type of medication. I went to therapy for years, and at the end of it, she was like, you are ADHD and autistic. She actually recommended me not to get an official psychiatric diagnosis for autism, because she was like, in the current political climate, it might be really hard to advocate for yourself. That's what she recommended to me. But she was like, medication for ADHD might be really helpful for you. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that, because I was worried I was gonna lose my personality. I was worried I wasn't gonna be creative anymore. I was really worried that it would completely like mute my brain. And so I lived years and years after that unmedicated. And literally, obviously I took this an hour and a half ago, but the way my brain feels right now is really deeply emotional, because everything that I do in my life always feels very Herculean, and I didn't even necessarily know how hard I was living my life on hard mode. Like, I'm sitting down and I'm writing in the morning, which I always do, and writing is easier. I thought I wasn't going to be creative anymore. I genuinely thought like there was a world where I take this medication and I lose my creativity, because I have banked so much of my identity within the aspects of my mental health that are extremely challenging. And like, if you want to do meds, great. If you don't, that's also fine. I get whatever way. This is like, I'm still here. I'm still funny. I'm still thinking on my thoughts. It's just like, I can focus on this without, I don't even know how to explain the difference necessarily in a way that makes a lot of sense. Because if you know, you know, and if you don't, you don't. But oh my God, like my bird clock just went off. That would usually drive me insane in the mornings, because it takes all of my energy to focus on writing. And if any slight distraction happens, it fills me with rage, because I'm like, oh, I need to get this done before I can't in the afternoons anymore. Because once the afternoon rolls around, I'm so dumb. I can't do anything. I'm not sad though. This isn't oh my God, I could have lived like this the whole time, because my life looks the way that it looks right now because I didn't. And I'm really grateful for that. Bought a house on an impulse. All of my impulsiveness has made me illustrate and has made me do just insane things. So there's a good part about it. I'm also really excited that I'm to the point in my life where I can be really grateful in the singularity, because I had a really transactional relationship with myself before therapy and stuff. And I don't know, I'm rambling. It just feels so peaceful. Oh, also first thing this morning, within like 45-50 minutes, I sat down at my desk, and it takes me a long time to write invoices for like brands and stuff, or to like film content for a brand. The brands that are rotting in my inbox because the thought of filming like a minute video and having to follow directions is horrible. Like, I make careless mistakes all the time on stuff, and I've always said like I enjoy my self-employment because I'm the person who writes my directions, because I mess up stuff a lot. And today I wrote an invoice. I fixed some stuff on my bank account. I checked on my 401k statement, make sure everything was like done. It doesn't feel impossible, like usually existential dread. Also, I want to text all of my friends back. I want to text people back. I mean, I am notoriously the worst texter. I don't like it. God bless my long distance friends. If our relationship relies on texting, we're just gonna have to see each other when we see each other. It doesn't feel impossible today. Like, I remembered to do it, and it doesn't feel bad to do. And on the food noise situation, I have and always have had really bad food noise, but I also have a bunch of food allergies. And so what I'm going to eat, the timing of it has always been there, because I have just bad digestive issues and really bad allergies. But that stress is gone. Usually I'm so stressed about that immediately, of like, oh God, what am I gonna eat? When am I gonna eat it? Is it gonna feel like enough? What? Also, I was so fascinated by, when I was talking to my psychiatrist, you know, we did the whole whatever, and she had me explain my day to her. And I was like, the morning times, I feel like a different person. Like I feel very regulated. I'm so happy. The happiness I feel in the mornings is so intense. And then we get to the afternoons and I'm like this with anxiety or depression. I want to go to my son's school because I'm worried that there's been a school shooting. And then I get depressed and I can't do anything and I cannot do any writing in the afternoon. And she was like, oh yeah, you're just getting increasingly overstimulated throughout the day. And I was like, oh, that's what that is. She was like, yeah, it's ADHD overwhelm. Like the more stimulation that you receive throughout the day, your tolerance level is just going to go farther down. And I was like, so that's why dinner time feels like a war in my body. It feels like a literal war. I feel like I'm going to battle. I feel like Christopher Nolan based the Odyssey filming off of how I feel at 5 p.m. Oh my God. So I'll keep you updated throughout the day, but this is my first morning with ADHD medicine and it's amazing. Like everything I do I'm so interested in it. And I already I have multiple interests, but I'm like doing it and I'm just doing that. Like I'm just talking to you all. What? And then when I'm writing, I'm just writing. And there's like essences. There's essences. Like I'm still thinking like, okay, I should get some decaf Cafe Bustelo because I can't really have a bunch of caffeine in the morning. I'm not going to do Vyvanse and caffeine at the same time. Okay, I should order some protein shakes because I can already feel like solid food right now. It is not necessarily attractive to me, but I want to make sure my protein is up. Those are still there, but I'm not having to act on them. They're just like little notes. Oh my God. Okay, first morning with ADHD meds. I'll let you know how the rest of it goes. Also, I love these shakes. 9 allergen girls. 3 hours in, and I can tell you, I have texted back every friend I've not texted back. I have saved people's numbers I have not saved in 6 years of knowing them. I've texted back my sister. I've texted back my best friends. I've written, and it genuinely, from a writing perspective, because again, so much of me like being really worried about going on medication was one, probably a lot of anxiety. I have lots of anxiety. And I was so worried my creativity would lapse. It feels like I have access to my creativity instead of my creativity resting behind a paywall of other thoughts in capital letters. Like I don't have to wade through the millions of other ideas, things I should be doing in order to get to the creativity, to my writing, to this thing that I've honed for years. It's there. I can just do it. It's not like being pulled through the murk and mire of my brain. But I was so worried that ADHD was the reason why I was creative and like I wouldn't have ideas because my brain isn't like whatever. That's all still there. That's all very much still there. I'm having a great time writing right now. And it actually, I'm not stressed about how many things I need to change. I'm like keeping track of it. It's awesome. And also I have again, like I've been texting people and they're like, are you grieving the person that you could have been? And I was like, no, she got me to where I am. I'm gonna keep cataloging this process because I do think it's important. And it was stuff like this that really helped me pull the trigger to go get the diagnosis and go get the medication, is seeing people admit they were scared. And I am and was one of those people of being really terrified to begin medication. Like I just thought it would be over for me. And life doesn't always have to be about suffering. No one is throwing me a parade because at the end of the day, I've somehow managed to get through the day in my brain, in the prison that I have made for myself. Anyways, all that to say, right, it did not make me a bad writer. Okay, it is 11 o'clock and I'm having my first real meal. I did finish one of these today, my medication, and that was really helpful. I don't want to rely on protein shakes if I don't have to, but I also don't want to not eat. And if that's what sounds good to me, that's what sounds good to me. Also, I'm autistic, so I'm not going to make myself feel super guilty about food aversions. I am not disgusted by the thought of food. It's just not on my mind, which is really nice because usually I have a lot of anxiety around food. So anyways, I have to be top 9 allergen friendly. I have a bunch of food allergies. So this is gluten-free bread and this is butter. So I want to make sure I'm getting my proteins and fats in there. One thing I have noticed already is usually when I am getting to the point where I'm about to eat a meal that's not breakfast, so like after lunch and lunch and dinner, there's like this thing in my brain that don't stop eating, it's freaking out. And it's so hard to make a meal because my brain is being so loud and freaked out as if I'm not gonna feed it. Will you chill out? And none of that is there. So I'm just not anxious. For me, food noise isn't necessarily, I don't know, food noise is like a new term. I just have anxiety about everything. There's a certain part in the day where every single one of my thoughts is the most overstimulating version of a thought, and food is such a distraction, I guess, or like eating is such a, I don't even know how to explain it necessarily, but that feeling is not there. Anyways, this is sun butter, which is high in healthy fats, and it's got protein in there as well. I'm having some for some crunch. I'm gonna sprinkle some ham parts. I'm an autistic person. I go in and out of having really bad food aversion, so I'm very used to making the version of food that I am craving the most nutrient version that it can be. Usually, if I'm not having any type of food aversion, I do a lot of veggies. I'll do tuna, I'll do chicken, I'll do turkey. That is not anything I want to eat. Toast with sun butter has always been a safe food for me, even when I was in heights of ADHD burnout and depression and had no appetite, which I've struggled with off and on. When I was told I was getting put on these ADHD meds, I knew the risks of you might lose your appetite. And so one thing I'm really thankful for in having autism is that I'm very used to cycling in and out of that. That has been my life. There will be some months where all of a sudden I just can't eat, and I know what my safe foods are. So my safe foods are mostly the same right now. It has been a full 6 hours since I took first dose of Vyvanse. We're safely in the afternoon now, and I have done so many things that I put off, and they didn't feel horrible while I was doing them, and it didn't fill me with anxiety and dread. And I think something that I've already realized this morning was that because my entire life my brain has been like this. When I was a kid and I was homeschooled, so there wasn't a lot of early intervention or anything, but I have always had trouble sitting still. I made a lot of careless mistakes. I was constantly getting in trouble, even in homeschooling, all the time. I was interrupting. I was not behaved well. I was really impulsive. And then that switched to something in my high school years way different because I learned how to look like the perfect student. And so I went from being really poorly behaved and not being able to finish my homework and not being able to follow directions and really not being able to listen at all to anything to looking like I was really, really good at that. And it took me so long to complete homework. People would do their homework in 20 minutes and it would take me so long to complete mine because I was trying so hard to follow those directions. And all of my 20s, I'm 29, all of my 20s, this has just been my everyday life. And so I didn't realize kind of until this morning what immense stress my brain was going through literally every day because it was normal. I lived a very happy life, and on paper, I am the most efficient person you have ever met, even though ADHD isn't necessarily, oh, I can't do something. It's that, no, I will do it obsessively to the goal line. And if you interrupt me, I'm filled with so much rage. And also I put so much on everything. I don't know. Everything means everything. And the things that should mean more, I can't even deal with those right now because that's taking emotional capacity. Whereas this other stuff, nothing tasks that have suddenly become the things I must do today are more important than that, or at least not as stressful as those things because I don't know. And then it just gets half done anyway. I'm feeling a little bit scatty 6 hours in, but not rash wise. It's just it's almost like excitement. I'm still able to follow through on my thoughts. That's been very nice. I've done good about keeping up with protein, and so we'll see how the rest of the afternoon goes. I'm sure that I'll hit some type of crash. It is almost 2 o'clock since I had my first dose of Vyvanse. One thing that I noticed was around 12:30, I started getting jittery and not feeling super great, almost like a spike in depression. So I made myself eat. I had some gluten-free pretzels and sun butter again. And then I had a bunch of water, immediately helped. So at least for me, at least today, is that the moments where I've been ugh, as soon as I fix my blood sugar, it has been really helpful. So I've just been every few hours doing some pretzels and some sun butter, a lot of water, and that's been totally fine. My food and appetite has, I would say, worsened throughout the day because maybe 2 or 3 hours when I ate my first meal, I was able to eat that just fine. And as the day has gone on, even just from then, it has been increasingly more difficult to put food in my mouth, and nothing really sounds good except for cured meats. And I can't even really digest red meat that well. So my psychiatrist did suggest that I know I have some food allergies, but there's other things that I really have difficulty digesting. And she suggested that some of that could just be my stomach is just having a tough time because I am so anxious. I'm not a medical doctor.
Anyways, that is currently what's going on. I've been craving red meat, salami and pepperoni, and beef jerky. The only meat I could stand to eat. Nothing sounds worse than a vegetable right now. I already have a really good relationship with getting my work done in my work hours when I've spent a lot of time learning about when my brain wants to work and how to maximize that time. And I've been doing all of that with basically ankle weights on. I've been doing life on hard mode. And so I've already honed those habits. And now that I'm on medication, it's not like I need to start everything from scratch. I'm like, oh my God, I have all of this in place. It sort of feels like I have been building a house for years and years and years. And for whatever reason, I've not been allowed to go inside. I'm sleeping outside the whole time. And then all of a sudden I was just given keys to my house that I built. It's all there. I know what it looks like. I just have access to it. And I cannot tell you the clarity of emotion that I feel. And it's not like, it doesn't necessarily feel like euphoria or like really intensive happiness. There's just not a paywall of to-do lists in order to get through to my emotion. I feel things with such clarity. I need to send this text. Oh, I need to tell this person. Why have I not done that before? Because there was something around that, or I didn't even feel it, or I mean, I've always been a really happy, mostly fulfilled person. And so this is just sort of making it so that I can exist in that in a more present way. Do you know what I mean? I've worked a really long, all of my 20s, I went to therapy. I did so many different iterations of like collecting data about my brain and getting to know myself. And now I get to benefit from that because I've not really gotten to. My brain was fighting against me in a lot of ways. It was just a motor that couldn't stop. And now it's just being normal. It's really amazing. Yeah, I'm gonna keep logging this process. I really do feel and have a lot of sympathy for the people who are scared to start anything like this, because I was with you for years. I think so much of my self-worth has always been banking on the things I'm allowed or I can get done in the day. And that doesn't make me any less or more lovable, actually. I can just be enough as I am, which again, I think if I had taken medication when I was diagnosed years ago, or when I was first told, hey, you have this, you could go get diagnosed by a psychiatrist, I don't think I would have, I wouldn't have had the tools to deal with some of the really great things, because I hadn't worked on my transactional relationship with myself. And so a day like today, where I just sat and texted friends for a long time and wrote, but not a ton, but I wrote, and did some things around the house, that type of day where I enjoyed it, I know that there's a version of myself, ADHD or no, that I would have come away from this day pretty depressed because I felt like I didn't do enough to earn XYZ. So anyways, that's on not romanticizing your past self, I guess.